Resident Evil 6 is a really fun, well paced action game. Resident Evil 6 is a really awkward, messed up game. The duality of video games. I haven't played this game in a long time, much like Resident Evil 5, so GameChomp decided to give it a go. What a wild ride. It's not exactly a pure Resident Evil game, but it's got the paint job and manages to do an okay job at integrating that. But really, it's a good action game, especially for the time. This is your mind on drugs, or just Resident Evil 6. Before I get into it, I'm just going to warn you all that I'm going to spoil the entirety of Resident Evil 6. Like, everything that happens, kind of, sorta. So don't say I didn't warn you. You really can't explain the insanity of this game without just kind of showing it. I love insanity like this. So sit back and enjoy the ride. Leon's campaign is pretty cool. Survival horror backdrop, but we get to use the new action game mechanics. Leon's upgraded to be even more insane at knocking around infected. The president woke up on the wrong side of the bed, so he needs a nap. Then you're on a wild ride of kind of Resident Evil vibey stuff. The hardest encounter in the game is actually pretty early on. Train Chan is really a feisty one. Then you get to do a prolonged cabin fight to save some people that just die later. It gets even more exciting when they reveal the My 600 Pound Life collab. Then there's some actual Resident Evil puzzles, which I kind of forgot about, and they're fully integrated for co-op. And then you fight whatever this disgusting fart machine is. Happy birthday, Ada. Then you run into Helena's sister, and my, Debbie is looking good. The fight feels pretty classic. Leon even gets a minecart segment for old time's sake. And Delago's also back, so swimmy. You gotta go to China then, because the bad guy that's framing you for everything is gonna be there. So you get on a plane and things go as well as you'd expect. Run into the girl from Resident Evil 2 and Leon 2.0 while you fight Leatherface. Should have failed this QTE for footage. The rest of the campaign is just fighting Simmons the Transformer, Saber-Tooth Tiger to T-Rex. I get to third wheel from above during the fight. Even video games are cruel. Then Simmons comes back one last time because nothing dies in this game. This time, he's a giant fly. Gross. All good Resident Evil games end with a rocket launcher. Afterwards, I'm acquitted of my charges. Freedom feels good. I was happy at this point. Leon's campaign was silly and over the top, but still fun. There was definitely enough Resident Evil in it for me to get a kick out of it. So I was excited to queue up the Chris campaign and keep going. Chris really is a bit. His new partner Piers shows up to push him back into action. Then the action starts and you're just shooting your way through the new infected type, Juavo. They've got guns and weapons, so it's more like a third-person shooter here. Bang your way through open areas and corridors and pop everyone in your way. You've even got NPC squad members that pretend that they're helping. Save some hostages and you see a pile of goop shaped like a person and it triggers a flashback. Now you fight through more Juavo, but instead of just waiting until they tell you to move forward, you wait until Finn blows up the doors for you. Same gameplay loop. And El Gigante shows up and it's uh-oh time. You fight on a bridge, dealing with a tank, and then you meet up with Sherry and who we now know is Wesker's son. Chris doesn't know that though. You fight two El Gigantes and shoot more bad guys until Finn blows up the AA guns. Don't I know you? You keep going and fight some different kinds of infected like a Mirelurk and Lizard. Fake Ada joins the squad before betraying you and transforming your whole team except for Chris and Pierce because plot armor. Finn goes down the exact same way as the goop guy before, and I actually forgot this was a flashback. That mission was so long and boring. Then you're brought back and remember why that happened in the first place. Then you fight Yawn from the original Resident Evil. He doesn't stop rolling over you like Train Chan. You zap him and move on to a car chase. Gotta catch fake Ada. The vehicle controls like a paraplegic on ice, and the machine gun isn't any better. Ada talks shit while you chase after her. You get in a jet, plant a bomb to stop some missiles, and fight an El Gigante. Missile gets away though. Sorry, Leon. Also, Chris, Jake is Wesker's son. Wesker! You go to save Jake and Sherry. Chris and Jake have a cat fight, and then an Elden Ring boss shows up. There's a parkour section, then a part that just decides to kill you for fun. And then I got yucked up. Piers gets his arm removed for a better arm. Budget, Krauser, and Chris fight the boss and bully him in the corner like the little bitch it is. Then, after we had our fun, we finish the fight. Piers nobly sacrifices himself, and Chris gets Bioshocked out of the water. Is this game looping? Chris's campaign was honestly not a good time. At this point, I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to make it through the final two campaigns. It really was a lot of shootout to shootout and waiting in between if you killed him too fast. Just a yikes time, and I was glad it was over. We started Jake's though, and although it started rough, it turned out to be pretty fun. Yikes. Jake is an edgelord and Cherry is just strange. He's got antibodies for the C virus, so run forward, fight some more Juavos, and then you run into Leatherface. This is the main villain of their campaign, basically just Nemesis, but even more but ugly. Make him go boom a bit and then run away before getting to the double El Gigante part again. Oh boy, this is not looking good. Again? At least we don't have to protect Finn this time. But this time, once it's over, we're out of there. Except Bubba said not today. There's a plane fight and some turret stuff before everyone crash lands into a frozen wasteland. Sherry somehow loses all of the data chips in different locations, so we spent way too long looking for them in a blizzard. But hey, I got to ride a snowmobile that controlled like an air hockey puck. Make it to a cabin and the lovebirds start opening up before we gotta get the heck out of there. Painful snowmobile segment ensues, and we died way more times than we should have. The black hole in the Earth's core really likes to suck. Bubba's chilling in a little lair down in the ice caverns, and there's a stealth segment. It's super bare bones, but honestly, the variety in this campaign already knocks this one above Chris's campaign for me. It's nice to never know what to expect in missions. Chris's was so one note. Smoosh the knockoff Nemesis into a wall, and we're home free. Never mind, we're going to prison. Apparently 6 months have passed. Niggy Jakey and I guess Sherry have to escape out of the lab and then through a casino. But before that, Naked Jakey is a pervert and tries to sneak a peek. The level design is really cool here, and there are a lot of colors. Every room was pretty diverse, and I could look past the collectathon gameplay. Tank shows up because why not? Motorcycle time. The motorcycle controls like a Dorito bag in a hurricane, and Sherry just gets to shoot backwards or hold on to her lover. So romantic. I can't believe he crashed here, and I can't believe I died here. I wasn't paying attention. You fight your stalker with Leon and Helena again, and then head to find Simmons. Chainsaw Guy, because it's obligatory after RE4. Run into Simmons, off to prison again. Chris and Piers free us, and we do an elevator puzzle that took us way too long. And then we get to watch the cat fight again before facing our final boss. That's right, buddy. It's time to end this. The fight was apparently cool for my buddy, but for me, I just made a box hit Buster a few times. We got him. Never mind. Nothing dies in this game. And there's a crawling QTE that takes way too long, but it doesn't matter though. Aw, how romantic. And after all this, Sherry sips some lean while closing the case, and Jake rides off into the sunset. I liked the variety of Jake's campaign despite the vehicle segments. It had a little bit of the chase stuff from like Mr. X, Nemesis, and the like. It had a little stealth, melee stuff, and shooting stuff, just a lot of variety. It was definitely a more enjoyable time than I remembered. I know I'm poking a bit of fun, but it's all in good fun. There's not much for me to say about the Ada campaign, mainly because I didn't really get to play it. You can do co-op, and it's Ada and just a guy. This secondary character can't really interact with the world at all. You can't open doors, you can't do puzzles, you can't grapple. So I was just getting yanked around all the time, having a seizure for half the campaign. There was some good stuff, like a classic RE puzzle and typical Ada helping from the sidelines stuff. Come monster! You basically just fight Ada's clone and clean up the stuff they're trying to pin on Ada. It's a decent final campaign and closure to the story. It gives a lot of context, and it's a good way to wrap things up. Before the game is done, there's one final cutscene. Nice apple. Say that one with your tongue out. Resident Evil 6 is a game where you're just along for the ride. I don't think it's meant to be taken too seriously. It's almost every action movie and Resident Evil trope mashed into one game that controls and plays surprisingly well. Sure, it's obviously not a Resident Evil game for purists, and even those that prefer 4 and 5 might still think this is a super far shot from Resident Evil, but RE5 kind of started this. Yeah, it's not a perfect game. The vehicle sections are abysmal, and Chris's campaign was a chore for me to get through. But overall, it was an enjoyable time to go through and see RE protagonists, sorry, Claire and Jill, all in one game. It's a good over the top co op game for some laughs. I just don't think it deserves all the hate it gets. I really don't. The story is wild, but with all the campaigns, seeing it come together is pretty fun. It's nothing stellar. I wouldn't even say the story's good, but it is in line with most of the other Resident Evil titles. I don't think RE6 is Resident Evil in name alone like some make it out to be. All in all, I had fun for the most part, and I wanted to give a little love to this game. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified of future uploads. Plenty more content to come. Anyways, I'm out. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.